Tonight on CTV News at 6, a manslaughter conviction for a woman who gave her partner a deadly drug cocktail. How police got her to confess to the injection. Fears a new Old Strathcona Rec Centre will be rejected by City Council.
Not supporting this project now disregards the incredible effort of the community.
And decorating a senior's home with gifts from one of their own.
It's really just brightened up our unit.
New week, same old weather story. More scattered showers and occasional thunderstorms over the next few days.
CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Jeff Hastings.
Good evening. A woman who gave her partner a deadly injection of drugs 4 years ago has pleaded guilty to manslaughter. The 41-year-old from Edmonton was sentenced to 3.5 years behind bars. Amanda Anderson has details from the law courts.
41-year-old Morgan Churchill was originally charged with second-degree murder. This morning, she pleaded guilty to a lesser manslaughter charge. In late December 2022, police ruled the death of Churchill's 60-year-old partner, Joseph Mercier, in their Alberta Avenue area home a result of a drug overdose. According to an agreed statement of facts, the couple were both heavy fentanyl users. The court heard she loaded an estimated gram of fentanyl and half a gram of cocaine into a syringe. Churchill says she warned him it would make his head spin, but Mercier is said to have told Churchill, "Go big or go home." Mercier immediately fell to the floor after the injection, and Churchill dragged him out to the living room. She then went to another man's house where the court heard she said she'd killed him. The man went with Churchill to her house and found Mercier still lying on the floor. The court then heard Churchill took money from his pocket and then left to spend Christmas with friends. When she returned a few days later, Mercier's body was still on the floor in a state of decomposition. That's when Churchill called 911. A few months later, the man Churchill went to visit told police about that night. A modified Mr. Big undercover operation was started, with Churchill eventually confirming she'd injected the drugs. Churchill chose not to address the court during her hearing. Still, the justice says her guilty plea shows she's taking responsibility and is an expression of remorse. He went on to say illicit drugs like fentanyl turn lives into hellscapes. They lead to nothing but tragedy, the justice said, before accepting a joint sentence submission of 3.5 years. Churchill has been in custody since her arrest in March 2025. With credit for time already served, she has about 1.5 years left on her sentence. Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
Mounties say the death of a 12-year-old boy is a homicide. RCMP say human remains were found early Thursday near Calling Lake. An autopsy has identified the victim as 12-year-old Faisal Hussein. Police are asking anyone with dashcam video from early Thursday morning near the hamlet of Calling Lake to contact them. A man is dead and a police officer is recovering in hospital after a shootout in a Calgary park. Police say during a traffic stop around noon, a man shot an officer before running towards Edgeworthy Park in West Calgary. That's when he and officers shot at each other. Police say he later carjacked a vehicle, but it became stuck. Officers found the man dead in the Bow River, saying it appears he shot himself. One witness says she was walking her dog when the shooting began and police told her to take cover.
And the cops are yelling at us to get in our cars. We're like, we don't have cars. Like, so how are we supposed to get in our cars?
There is no question that today's incident could have had far more tragic consequences, and we are incredibly grateful that our officer is expected to make a full recovery.
Alberta's police watchdog is now investigating. Court proceedings for a Calgary police officer charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder after a 2023 low-speed pursuit are now underway. Constable Craig Stothard was in court today to hear if there's evidence for the case to go to trial. In May 2023, he was part of a police effort to stop a cube van being driven erratically in northeast Calgary. Officers say the man was able to evade blockades and move toward police. A NACERT investigation found Stothard eventually fired his gun, killing 2 people inside, and recommended he be charged. 39-year-old Levon Fox and 46-year-old Wesley Davidson both died. Their families say they'll be present for all of the preliminary hearing.
We need to be here every day to see why it led to that. You know, there are so many non-lethal ways to de-escalate. There can't be any special priority treatment given to the accused simply because he was in the line of duty as a police officer.
Stothard is not in custody and his lawyer maintains his innocence. A house in Sherwood Park, recently deemed a problem property, has been gutted by a weekend fire. Crews were called to Glengarry Crescent at 2 on Sunday morning. The fire was out an hour and a half later. The home has been the source of dozens of complaints. Alberta Health Services issued a notice last September for the people living inside to leave. They stayed despite several follow-up notices. Neighbors tell CTV News the owner of the house had evicted the tenants 5 days before the fire.
It's been multiple, 10, almost 20 years of just disgusting behavior coming from this property.
The Strathcona County Fire Department says neighboring properties were not damaged. A 10-year-old boy is recovering after his family says he was hit by a privately owned e-scooter being operated by a child in a park. The boy broke his arm in 2 places. Now his family wants to know why police won't do more. Nicole Weisberg reports.
As you can see, he's slightly dysregulated and wants to get out of this place, right?
The neighborhood park is now a difficult place to be for Dominic Del Rosario. The last time he was here, he was biking on this path when,
out of nowhere, a child with an e-scooter rammed the front right side of his bike, catapulting him in this pool of water.
Facing a long wait for an ambulance, his father rushed him to the stollery.
He ended up having 2 broken bones in his forearm. Dominic is neurodivergent. He's really having a terrible time expressing how he really feels.
Marco Del Rosario says the private e-scooter that hit his son was being operated by a 7-year-old boy. He says he received the contact information of the boy's parents and called police.
The police said that since there wasn't any malicious intent, since it wasn't done on purpose and it was just an accident, that they cannot take my report.
While shared e-scooters, such as those operated by Bird and Lime, are allowed in public areas, privately owned e-scooters aren't. Under the Traffic Safety Act, they're considered prohibited miniature vehicles. For years, municipalities have been asking for legislation to cover them.
Now that we're seeing such a growth in that type of ridership, this is probably the right time for the province to get a handle on this.
A statement from the Transportation Ministry says Alberta is considering a provincial framework to support the safe and consistent use of personal micromobility devices such as e-scooters. Marco says this should be a priority.
Kid and who did this and the parents of the kid there's basically no consequence for them at this point.
Nicole Weisberg, CTV News, Edmonton.
We reached out to Edmonton Police for details about private e-scooter enforcement and are waiting for a response. Despite a show of community support last week, it appears City Council is not willing to pay for a new recreation centre in the old Strathcona area. The mayor says Rolly Miles Rec Centre will eventually be built. He says given the city's tight finances, now is not the time. Jeremy Thompson joins us now with more on the public push to get this project built. Jared, people in that neighbourhood have been fighting for a new rec centre for a while now.
Yeah, Jeff, a group has been pushing for a new recreation centre in Queen Alexandra for nearly 2 decades. It appears their advocacy will have to keep rolling. More than a dozen supporters told councillors there's heavy demand for indoor pool and activity space in the area, especially since the city closed Scona Pool 4 years ago. City staff say building an expensive new rec centre there is not a priority.
Not supporting this project now disregards the incredible effort of the community over the past 17 years.
When Scona Pool was demolished, we were promised a replacement pool. I trust the city will keep its promise.
Administration is currently planning recreation facilities focused primarily on neighborhoods within the developing area of the city where the residents do not yet have access to a facility within a 5-kilometer radius of their home.
4 years ago, after much debate and public pushback, a litany of mechanical and structural issues at Scona Pool led council to close it rather than spending millions on repairs. Since then, the city has done preliminary design work for a replacement rec centre. This concept video shows it would have a pool, gym, workout area, and multi-use space. There are also plans to update the district park where it would be built. The city estimates the park plus the rec centre would cost about $150 million. Construction costs have only gone up since that estimate was made 3 years ago. Add in the $3 million per year it would cost to operate the Rolly Miles Rec Centre, and the mayor says it's just too much for the city to take on right now.
If we look at the budget that's been suggested of around $130 million, that would eat up 10% of our entire capital budget over the next 4 years. Realistically, that's not going to be possible.
It was a treasured community asset, and I would like to get it built as soon as possible. So hearing that it's not a priority right now is frustrating.
Area Councillor Michael Jan says a 60% cut to infrastructure funding from the province over the last 15 years means projects like Rolly Miles are more difficult to pay for. He would at least like to update the design work in the next 4 years to get the rec centre shovel ready. That could take a year and $8 to $10 million. The meeting did wrap up this afternoon without any councillors making the motion to debate the Rolly Miles Rec Centre during fall budget talks. That means at this point the project remains right where it started, Jeff, in limbo.
All right, Jeremy, thank you. Jeremy Thompson live tonight. Dozens of sports venues across Edmonton are filled with hundreds of athletes participating in the Alberta Indigenous Games. Today's events included volleyball and track and field. The games involve more than 650 teams from across Canada and the United States. The city says, including coaches and chaperones, the games will bring about 9,000 people to Edmonton. Participating athletes say they look forward to the tournament every year.
Because it's just like everybody gets together and it's good to see everybody coming out to compete.
I get to hang out with my friends and do the thing I love.
The city says the games are expected to produce more than $28 million in economic impact, which is comparable to K-Days or the Canadian Finals Rodeo. From crafts to cooking classes to solving a murder mystery, Youth Week has begun in St. Albert. Today, Kids Create hosted a class on do-it-yourself bag charms at the library. Youth Week takes place all week and includes free events for kids 12 to 18 years old. It started as a one-day event last year. Organizers say it was such a success, the city of St. Albert decided to expand it to a whole week. They say it's a great opportunity to bring the community together ahead of the school year.
It's a great way for them to meet friends that might be going to the same junior high as them, other people that might be entering the same grade as them. Maybe it's their first year of high school. It's a chance to kind of get to know people in St. Albert, get to know different agencies that are running programs throughout the year.
Youth Week finishes Sunday with an intergenerational murder mystery at the St. Albert Place Quilting Studio. Cars of all makes, models, and sizes were on display in St. Albert this weekend.
My dad and I brought this over from Japan 25 years ago, and we picked it because it was left-hand drive. It feels normal, and a lot of guys are stuck with the right-hand drive when they get this type of car, so I feel pretty lucky to be able to go through a drive-through.
This green Mini Cooper was one of the dozens of vehicles at Rock in August this weekend. The car community has been celebrating the show's 30th anniversary over the last 5 days. From hot rods to classic American muscle, even tiny trucks, there is a little something for every gearhead to check out.
And a guy pulled up next to us in a McLaren and gave us the thumbs up, and I thought, you know, you're pretty popular when the guy in the McLaren's giving you the thumbs up, like, you know, and like my car probably cost less than one of his wheels.
Rock in August is also a fundraiser for the Alberta Diabetes Foundation. Organizers say they're still calculating how much money was raised. They believe they managed to push the 30-year total past $2 million. Organizers say more than 100,000 people walked through the gates of the Folk Music Festival this year. The clouds parted for this year's festival after wet weather worries delayed its opening. After record rainfall this summer, truckloads of sand were brought in to prepare the grounds. The festival opened an hour late Thursday as crews worked to prepare the muddy ground. The weather held with only light rain on Friday.
And you can't battle the weather. All you can do is prepare for it. You want to battle the weather, it's always going to beat you.
More than 70 acts played over the 4-day event. A lot of happy, smiling people down at Gallagher Hill there. Noisy day in the city today, Josh.
Yeah, we're back to some scattered showers and thunderstorms earlier this afternoon. Although, I mean, just like this weekend, there were some spots in the city, like Folk Fest, where you missed most of the scattered showers and thunderstorms. There were other parts of the city that got the scattered showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures today hit 21, out ahead of a bit of precipitation this afternoon. We'll show you the radar map in a second. 17 downtown right now. 23 is the average daytime high. We were right in that ballpark through the weekend, 23 and 25 for daytime highs Saturday and Sunday. So a little cooler than average today and a little cooler than it was over the course of the weekend. It is dry enough in most of the city right now to fly the drone. So let's check out the shot from the CTV drone. It may be dry where that drone is flying right now, but it is cloudy, and those clouds are going to stick with us through the rest of this evening. I think most of the rest of this evening, it's dry for most of the city. Again, there are going to be a couple neighborhoods where you do have some scattered showers. You can see earlier this afternoon, especially over St. Albert and just north of Edmonton, it was pouring. And if you were in the West End, you may have looked at the ground and thought, well, it's dry, but I can hear all these rumbles of thunder. Right now over the south, especially southwest corner of the city, there's a little bit of shower activity. And then we'll see what happens with that little pocket there around Onaway. The stuff up by Westlock, that'll pass north of the city. But there might be one more little brief shower. And then I think we get into a bit of a dry slot for much of this evening for most of the city. A little different story, obviously, for other parts of the province. We'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. For the rest of this evening, though, I think just mostly cloudy here in the city. Scattered showers back in the forecast for tomorrow, though, and maybe even some late-day thunderstorms with a high of about 19 tomorrow afternoon.
Thank you, Josh. Still ahead, a cautionary tale.
Never knew about that undertow that was on that river, how it could be so strong at times.
In Alberta,
so
it's a lesson to everybody.
An Alberta family speaking about the importance of water safety after their son nearly drowned. Also next.
I love it. Every chance I get, I'm there trying to see what they have new.
How a new virtual reality experience is changing the day-to-day lives of Alberta seniors.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Alberta's government will review its Amber Alert system after the death of an 11-year-old boy with autism. Parker Wells disappeared from his Calgary day home. A 2-week search ended when his body was found in the city's pipe system. Police had to get the province's permission to run an Amber Alert because of the circumstances. By that time, Parker had already been missing for 2 days. The province says public safety and emergency services will meet with law enforcement, disability advocates, and community partners to review emergency alert procedures for vulnerable people. Assisted living and social services will review policies of the day home. Drowning deaths in both Alberta and BC are rising, and for every deadly drowning we hear about, there are many more serious incidents where people survive. A Calgary family hopes to spread awareness as their son fights to recover from a near drowning. CTV's Alicia Fieldberg reports.
9-year-old Angie remains in a medically induced coma 1 week after he nearly drowned in a river while on family vacation in British Columbia.
Seeing your son like that is, I don't have any word to.
Like, we don't wish this on any family that what we're going through.
On August 3rd, the Calgary boy was swimming in the Shuswap River near Enderby when he was swept under the surface and became trapped by a piece of driftwood. According to RCMP, he was underwater between 5 and 10 minutes before he was rescued.
What we went through on that beach that day, it's hard to just even describe.
Angie's family says he often swims in Calgary's rivers and was in only waist-deep water in BC, but his mother was calling him back when she saw him get swept under.
Blink of the eyes, he just drowned like very quick.
She called for help and people immediately gathered using swimming goggles and a kayak to pinpoint his location, pull him out and perform life-saving measures. The family is grateful for that group of strangers, which just happened to include a doctor and 2 nurses who had a portable defibrillator.
I'm so thankful to all of them. It's so amazing what they did to my son.
Drowning deaths in British Columbia and Alberta are up significantly compared to this time last year. Experts say less than 1% of drowning deaths happen in swimming pools.
We see the majority of drownings occurring in outdoor unsupervised environments, so that's lakes, ponds, rivers. They have currents that can overtake even the strongest of swimmers.
She adds for every death, there are usually about 5 or 6 cases of near drownings. Angie remains in hospital but shows promising signs.
When he wake up, they ask a question. If he can squeeze my hand, he squeezed my hand. Do you need a hug? I said. So he did like this. He wanted to speak, but the truth.
His family is hopeful about his recovery and that sharing their story may help protect others.
Even though like our son knows how to swim okay, we took that for granted.
It's a big lesson for everybody.
Alicia Fieldberg, CTV News, Calgary.
Virtual reality technology is helping Alberta seniors experience familiar places and new environments right from the comfort of their home. CTV's Quinn Keenan has more from the St. Therese Assisted Living Facility in Lethbridge.
Since April, residents have been able to take advantage of the VirCube Flexi. It projects immersive scenes 270 degrees around a cube. The response so far has been overwhelmingly positive.
So far, I've heard lots of good feedback. They really love being able to feel like they're getting out of the facility, which often physically they can't.
The space also offers residents a chance to play games and even do yoga. So far, the virtual tours of real-life locations has been the biggest hit.
I love it. Every chance I get, I'm there trying to see what they have new. I'm not much of a game player, but I've tried it. It's fun.
It isn't just seniors who are benefiting. 43-year-old Rebecca Ellis suffers from a rare neurological condition that breaks down her nervous system. The cube allows her to do things she never thought possible.
Growing up, I was never able to play Nintendo or Xbox because I don't use my hands very much, so I couldn't hold a remote. And having them clip on my wrist is real cool. You know, I can just use my arms and it's real fun.
Whether it's playing games or seeing sights from around the world, the cube has had a positive impact on residents. It's giving those who may lack mobility the chance to recreate how they want and to build a sense of freedom.
It means a lot because I don't get out very much. I can't do a lot. So it's cool to go in there and see different places and interact with different things that I'll never be able to physically go to.
Quinn Keenan, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Still ahead, celebrating National Pickleball Day.
From a skill perspective, you can just jump in and start playing.
How the social aspect of the sport is playing a part in pickleball popularity, and later.
It's really just brightened up our unit, been conversation starters for some families.
A bespoke mural at a seniors living facility pays tribute to one of its longest-term tenants.
Not a lot of heat in the forecast for the rest of this week as daytime highs will be high teens to low 20s. Closer look at that and the scattered showers and thunderstorms in the forecast right after the break.
Programming brought to you by Century Casino. 3 great locations: Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile. Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
The Edmonton Elks will try to get back on track at home this week after a loss against the Montreal Alouettes. On Saturday, the Alouettes got revenge for a June loss at Commonwealth, which was the only time they've been beaten this year. The Elks lost 48-30. The team will look for redemption when they host Toronto Saturday afternoon. Team Canada is celebrating after a blowout gold medal win at the Hlinka Gretzky Cup Under-18 hockey tournament.
Oh, he's got Snyder's. Snyder's a right shot.
DuPont plays it back around. Shoot, scores!
Canadians outshot the Americans 45-17, dominating the game on their way to an 8-1 win in Edmonton on Saturday. Last year, the Canadians fell to the Americans in a shootout during the semifinals. The medal is the 31st Canada has won at the annual tournament. The courts in Edmonton were packed with pickleball players this weekend. Saturday was National Pickleball Day with dozens of players celebrating the sport. The Edmonton Pickleball Club was busy running skill drills, hosting classes for beginners, and handing out prizes. The club's president says just about anyone can play.
From a skill perspective, you can just jump in and start playing. And so there's a whole range of skill levels in the sport, and it's a lot of fun. It's quite a social community. And here at Edmonton Pickleball Club, we really try and embrace the social aspect as well.
Andrew Happer says, well, he's been playing pickleball since the 80s. The sport's popularity has really taken off over the past 10 years. I've never tried pickleball. Have you?
I have.
Is it worthy? Is it easy? Is it?
I don't love it.
Is it accessible?
I can see why people would like it, though. Yeah. I'm more of a tennis guy. Take a look outside right now. River Valley Sky Camp, cloudy skies, 17 degrees after hitting 21 for a daytime high, 23 in Fort McMurray and 20 in Grand Prairie for highs today. So aside from some heat across the south, which would be the case again for the next couple of days, most areas were high teens or low 20s. And that's kind of the pattern that we're locked into here for the rest of this week. As far as the showers and thunderstorms, well, there's what's left of the thunderstorms that passed through parts of northwest Edmonton earlier in the day today. You get some showers here right now, just kind of grazing the southeast corner of the city. Looks like just south of the city, you've got some showers. And then, as we said, that storm there is going to pass north of Edmonton. This stuff here, maybe kind of grazes through parts of the Edmonton region. It doesn't look like it's all that heavy, but you might see a little sprinkle in a couple neighborhoods. Then a bit of a break for the rest of this evening. Elsewhere, we've got lots of thunderstorm activity expected across east central parts of the province through the rest of this evening. Back just east of Grand Prairie, you've got a line of some storms. No severe thunderstorm watches or warnings associated with those, but it does look like it's pouring in a couple of spots. This funnel cloud advisory in gray probably gets ended in the next little bit here. And then further south in the yellow, you've got a severe thunderstorm watch for the foothills and areas off to the south of Calgary, an air quality warning for the areas in that light blue zone there through the mountain parks. And that is a severe thunderstorm warning. Now, this may be the last time you see severe thunderstorm warnings that look like this blocky sort of warning zone. What Environment Canada is moving to is targeted warnings, and they're going to start drawing these polygons around these and then moving them along with the storm, so that if there was a warning zone, a couple minutes ago there was still a warning zone for areas behind this storm. That's not going to happen. You're not going to see that anymore. And so what we used to get a lot of the time was false warnings, where you'd be back in this area here and technically you'd be included in the warning even though the storm was moving the other direction. So that change sounds like it could happen as early as tomorrow. It'll only affect severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings. If you want to find a little bit more, head to our website, ctvedmonton.ca. There's a little article up there on that change that'll start to take place in the next little bit. There's your showers and thunderstorms in east central Alberta through this evening. Back to the west as well, and south of Red Deer here in Edmonton. I think it stays mostly dry through the mid to late evening hours. Tomorrow morning, might see a couple scattered showers in and around the city, and then midday as well. Maybe a few hit and miss showers, even a thunderstorm possibly. Best chance later in the day is going to be to the south and to the west of the city. And Wednesday, I think Wednesday for most of the daytime hours is quite nice, mix of sun and cloud. But some of that action there off to the northwest could drift through Wednesday evening. So aside from Thursday, which has the potential to be a little bit steadier for rainfall, most of the next couple of days it's just sort of hit and miss precipitation. Temperature-wise, 12 degrees tomorrow morning, on our way to about 19 for a daytime high tomorrow afternoon. More high teens or low 20s through the rest of this week, and a little bit of a drying trend towards the end of the week. Friday, Saturday, and at least the first half of Sunday should see a decent amount of sunshine.
Thank you, Josh. Still ahead on CTV News at 6, tens of thousands forced from their BC homes.
Or as safe as
making the best of a bad situation. You know, life gives you lemons, you make lemonade.
An entire town evacuated in wine country. Homes lost along with at least one death. And
I think any parent put in that situation, your adrenaline goes up and you just kind of act, right?
A 3-year-old girl recovering from a bear attack in hospital after her father fought it off. Details next. Alberta is sending 40 more firefighters to BC to join the 186 already helping to fight devastating wildfires there. Alberta is also providing 45 support staff, 2 air tankers, 2 heli tankers, and a helicopter. The extra support comes as an entire town in the heart of BC wine country is empty after fire forced thousands to evacuate. CTV's Andrew Johnson reports from nearby Penticton, where many evacuees are taking refuge.
Jim Harnden and Tracy Coleman have done a lot of camping in their old van. This time in the Penticton Walmart parking lot is a little different.
we're safe, or as safe as
making the best of a bad situation. You know, life gives you lemons, you make lemonade.
They evacuated Friday night along with more than 10,000 others as flames quickly started to consume homes just west of Summerland.
The neighbor's house is burning up.
Families on the frantic drive out trying to register the destruction unfolding right in front of them.
It's like a freight train coming at you, the heat, everything. It's just,
It's unexplainable. One person, an elderly woman, died during the escape. In all, close to 20,000 people are out of their homes. That's all of Summerland and part of Peachland, communities in the heart of vacation and wine country south of Kelowna. The BC Wildfire Service says it is throwing everything it can at the fire, despite conditions limiting the use of air tankers. The fire has grown to 156 square kilometers. That's larger than the city of Vancouver. But overnight, expected strong winds did not materialize. Some evacuees are left to grieve the loss of their home.
20 years of building everything we've built, to watch it go up in flames in 5 minutes. Just gone.
For Harnden, even these difficult days are a gift. He has terminal metastatic cancer of the spine.
I don't know how much time I've got, and so I just want to make the best out of it.
They're comfortable staying in their van during the evacuation as long as Jim's health holds out. He's been receiving care in hospice, where he says an end-of-life camaraderie develops with fellow patients.
Live together and tell each other stories. This is just one of them.
Their story and those of many others threatened by this wildfire could remain stuck for some time. The fire is still out of control, and officials tell us even a staggered return could be a week off if the fire can be kept away. And right now, that's still a big if. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Penticton, BC.
A 3-year-old girl in BC is recovering in hospital after she was attacked by a bear outside her home. People in Maple Ridge are being asked to stay indoors and on alert for the animal. CTV's Ben Milger has more on how the toddler's dad came to the rescue.
For those living in interface areas where the forest meets suburban communities, this family's face-to-face fight with a bear is the stuff of nightmares. Amazingly, 3-year-old Anaya's mother tells me the girl is expected to make a full recovery. As an air ambulance takes off from a school field, RCMP officers armed with long guns set out to search for an aggressive wounded animal still loose in a residential neighborhood. According to the 3-year-old's mother, the bear attacked the girl as she played on the family's back patio, pinning her face down just before noon on Sunday.
Suddenly, she just started screaming, like I've never heard her scream before.
As the girl's father got the bear off his daughter, her mother grabbed her. She was bleeding from wounds on her back, head, and neck. According to the family, the aggressive bear would not leave the yard. That's when the father took decisive action.
He had no other choice but to grab his compound bow. He did shoot the bear in the head, and the bear at that point ran off.
Arriving RCMP officers actually found and shot a different bear in the neighborhood. That wounded animal ran off into a wooded area. A conservation officer praised the actions of the little girl's father.
He was acting as a dad, right? I think any parent put in that situation, your adrenaline goes up and you just kind of act, right?
Anaya underwent surgery Sunday evening, and her injuries are not considered life-altering.
I am still in shock. You have waves of just wanting to break down and just cry. But we've been staying strong for her. She's a brave little warrior. I cannot believe how tough she is.
Anaya will stay here at BC Children's Hospital for at least one more night of observation. In the meantime, conservation officers continue to search for the wounded bear, which they say will be destroyed if it is found alive.
A deadly earthquake has caused widespread destruction in Colombia. This was the moment the 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck, killing more than 100 people so far. Dozens are still trapped under the debris of collapsed buildings as rescuers search for survivors. People were seen running away from falling structures, some just watching in shock. Tremors were also felt in neighboring Ecuador and Panama. The World Health Organization says Canada has more measles cases per capita than the United States. The WHO says Canada has recorded about 1,100 measles cases in Canada so far this year. While that's half as many as the 2,200 cases reported across the United States, Canada has 1/10 of the population of the U.S. According to the Public Health Agency of Canada, 311 cases of measles have been reported in Alberta so far this year. Only Manitoba has seen more. Three of soccer's powerful governing bodies are officially calling for the resignation of FIFA President Gianni Infantino. An open letter from the organizations that govern soccer in North America, Europe, and Asia accused Infantino of deception for trying to sell off stakes in the World Cup. After facing worldwide backlash, Infantino called a crisis meeting in Morocco last week, but seems to have made matters worse by only inviting select FIFA members. The letter continued, saying, "These are not the qualities football deserves in leadership." Infantino is up for re-election next year. Still ahead, highlighting the importance of the Canada-U.S. relationship.
Really highlighting how important and integrated we are has been really valuable.
Many everyday Americans hoping for a return to normalcy as trade conversations heat up. And there's a live look of the Walterdale Bridge in the River Valley from the CTV drone. There is some rain in the area, but it's holding off for most of Edmonton for now. Stay with us. Checking on today's markets, not much movement for the Canadian dollar, still trading a little under 72 cents U.S. Oil was up nearly $4, trading around $82 a barrel. Gold saw a $20 bump. The TSX gained 77 points. The Dow Jones lost 60 on the day. Canada's trade minister is heading to Washington for another round of talks with just 9 days until new tariffs kick in. CTV's Mike Couture is in the U.S. Capitol with more.
As the American capital deals with another sweltering day, trade talks between Canada and the U.S. are heating up. The Minister of Canada-U.S. Trade, Dominic LeBlanc, is coming to Washington in anticipation of more meetings.
Canada and the U.S. are in the middle of these trade talks.
Meantime, Americans here just want to see the relationship return to normal.
Definitely don't need more tariffs. Anything, get rid of it. And if you want to start off, you can lessen it, but definitely we need to get rid of it.
I think it's horrid. I think it's terrible for our world economy. I think it's bad for Canadian economy. It's bad for American economy.
Others admit they aren't following the movement of every meeting. That's why the Canadian American Business Council launched 2 educational interactive games. One shows Canadians how the U.S. is often the source of everyday grocery items, and the other shows Americans how many states count on Canada as their top customer.
Really highlighting how important and integrated we are has been really valuable.
The CABC also commissioned a study to show the impacts of tariffs and a possible collapse of CUSMA. It shows Canada could see a $271 billion hit to the GDP over the next decade without the trade deal. In the U.S., it would be a $1 trillion loss over 10 years. But keeping it in place could see growth and more jobs.
A successful agreement would also support 137,000 additional U.S. jobs and 98,000 Canadian jobs in 2027 alone.
Burke and industry sources are cautiously optimistic after last week's meetings.
While creating meaningful opportunities.
As trade talks continue, equally complex negotiations are happening over Canada's purchase of new fighter jets and whether or not to buy the American F-35.
The question of an acquisition of that size would normally, obviously, be a point of debate or dialogue between 2 sovereign nations.
While those talks continue, there is a sense of urgency on the trade front. The U.S. has threatened a 50% tariff on a wide swath of Canadian goods if there isn't an agreement within the next 9 days. Mike Couture, CTV News, Washington.
A proposed pipeline that would run from Alberta to the BC coast is facing new opposition. The Union of British Columbia Indian Chiefs wants the federal and Alberta governments to pause efforts to build the West Coast pipeline. The group is citing concerns around climate change. It also says the federal government did not consult or cooperate with First Nations in good faith. The project is part of an energy deal between the 2 governments. It could see an approximately 1,200-kilometer pipeline moving crude oil from Alberta to a port in BC. Air Canada says it will extend its pause on flights to Dubai and Tel Aviv until January 2027. Air Canada first canceled flights to both destinations in February when the U.S. and Israel's war with Iran started. Service to Dubai was expected to resume in October, with flights now being pushed to mid-January as uncertainty from the war continues to affect air travel in the region. Air Canada says it expects to resume service to Tel Aviv around the same time. The airline says Canadians with scheduled trips may be able to rebook to a later date without additional fees or change their destination or cancel their trip for a travel credit. Kerry West is celebrating another successful festival, saying more people are joining the event every year. The Kerry West Parade took over downtown Saturday afternoon. The festival was founded in the 80s and has grown significantly. Kerry West wrapped up Sunday with a concert in Churchill Square. Still ahead, the finishing touch on an art collection of a lifetime.
She asked what elements we would like to have in the mural, and we just worked together, and she created a beautiful piece.
A mural paying tribute to a family that spent years filling a local seniors' home with art.
We've got another great night of entertainment coming up right here on CTV.
The family of a 103-year-old woman is breathing new life into the ward of her seniors' home by donating dozens of pieces of art. Today they unveiled their biggest donation yet. Noah Rashog has more.
Okay, there we go.
103-year-old Anne Missouri grew up on a farm near Innisfail, close to where the prairies meet the Rockies. She would regularly travel to the Rockies to see her favorite mountains, Norquay and the Three Sisters. At the Edmonton General Continuing Care Centre, those sites are now seen in a 14-foot mural right at the entrance to her ward.
It's really just brightened up our unit, been conversation starters for some families, some residents, some staff even, and bring some life back to our walls.
It's not just the mural. The walls on her floor are fully decorated with art. That's thanks to Anne's daughters. Some of these paintings belong to Anne, hung on her walls throughout her life.
So I just thought, well, we'll start with donating a few things from my mom's house because we had to sell it when she moved in here.
The mural is a love letter to Anne from her family, painted with her favorite sites.
Got in touch with Jeanette, and then with my siblings and I, we planned and we discussed what she asked what elements we would like to have in the mural, and we just worked together, and she created a beautiful piece.
If I, am famous after I die, they can cut it out of the wall like Banksy.
For artist Jeanette Spencer, it's her largest piece of artwork yet.
The family was great. They put some input on what represented Anne's life, where she grew up.
The mountains Anne loves so dearly now stand watch over her and everyone else in the ward. Noah Rashog, CTV News, Edmonton.
Some light rain sliding in from the northwest. You can see it's just now affecting parts of west and northwest Edmonton. That'll slip through over the next little bit. Those storms up around Westlock will miss the city, though. I think mid to late this evening. Should be just mostly cloudy. And for most of tomorrow, mostly cloudy. A little cooler than today. We'll get to about 19 for a daytime high. Chance of showers in the morning, and then some scattered showers, maybe even the odd thunderstorm in the afternoon. 20 on Wednesday. Most of Wednesday looks great. Mix of sun and cloud, but in the evening, you might see a shower or thunderstorm, and then we'll see what happens Thursday. That could be some steadier rain. Right now, it looks like that'll stay south of the city, but there's a chance that pushes north into the Edmonton area.
All right. Thank you, Josh, and thank you very much for sharing your time with us. Have a great evening, everyone.